Hi, my name is Christian Rubito. I'm the marketing director for Home Instead Senior Care, and I'd like to thank you for listening to this little virtual presentation that we're going to be doing. So we decided throughout this quarantine process that we wanted to bring you something of substance, whether that's to our seniors, the senior family members, any people in the community who partner with us. We wanted to give you some kind of information to go through this. And the topic we're going to talk about is senior isolation and loneliness. So I'm going to start off with some information about what isolation and loneliness actually does to us, both physically and mentally. And then I'm going to talk about two projects that Home Instead are working on right now to kind of combat this senior isolation and loneliness. And then Scarlett and Amber, our other two marketers, are going to follow up after I am, and they're going to speak more specifically on some physical activities or any kind of mental puzzles or games to do to stimulate a senior's mind more or keep them active during this quarantine, so they can combat senior isolation as best they can. And then we're finally going to share some success stories. We're going to share what our caregivers are doing, what our clients and their family members are doing to stay active and happy. Some real concrete stories to kind of give you some examples of what's been working for us. And finally, we'll give you some websites too. A lot of websites are going to be thrown out throughout this whole presentation. Some good places to go to speak with people who are also going through the same thing that we're going through. It's comforting to know that we're not alone in this. So that's what we're going to accomplish. So first and foremost, we found that senior isolation and loneliness obviously affects seniors' minds and bodies in a negative way. We found that those seniors who experience isolation and loneliness, they show worse symptoms than those with obesity and people who are going through alcoholism. We also find that seniors who experience isolation or loneliness, it can be the equivalent of smoking about 15 cigarettes a day. So it can take a serious physical toll on their bodies as well. We find that lonely and isolated people are more likely to engage in less than healthy habits. So whether it's not eating correctly, whether it's not exercising as much as they should, not sleeping as much as they should, not drinking enough water, all these kind of things happen when you're more isolated or lonely. So that's another reason why we should be, trying as much as possible to be more social. And then we found that perceived loneliness can actually increase your chances of developing dementia or Alzheimer's because it's actually linked to poor cognitive performance. So, if you don't exercise your brain as much as possible, if you kind of keep yourself alone, especially during this time when we can't really go out as much as we want, it's gonna tend to bring about some negative experiences, especially for seniors. So now I'm gonna jump into our next part of the presentation, which is all about a new initiative that Home Instead created. It's called Ready to Care, and I'll go over that in a bit. Okay, guys, so the first thing I wanted to touch on was the Ready to Care initiative that Home Instead created a little while ago, but now it's very important to talk about this, especially during a time where we're stuck at home as much as possible. So basically what it is, it's an initiative to combat senior isolation and loneliness as much as possible. One of the things you can do is go on their website. So the website is readytocare.com. So READYTOCARE, readytocare.com. It's extremely easy to navigate. One of the coolest things about this website is that you can sign up for these weekly care missions, is what they call them. All you need to do is provide your first name and your phone number. Once you do that, you get a text every week with a new care mission. So for example, one of the care missions was all about reaching out to a senior, whether it's writing a letter to a senior or giving a senior a call. Something as simple as just breaking up their day and reaching out to them, having them think of something else can really bring joy to them. So that was just one of the care missions that was very recent. Another one I looked at was all about finding common ground with a senior. So all throughout the week, all you had to do was basically speak with any senior, whether it's someone in your family, whether it's a friend, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's a stranger in a nursing home. Reach out to the senior and find some kind of common ground. So that entails speaking with them, doing some listening, and sharing your heart a little bit. Trying to get to know them and having them get to know you a little bit and finding some common ground. So just two examples of what this website does for these care missions every week. They're very simple, but it's a good way to kind of stay on top of it, especially right now when most of us are sitting at home and trying to figure out how we can better the life of a senior, especially those who are stuck at home or maybe stuck in a nursing home and not able to see their friends or family as much as they're used to. Another cool thing about this Ready to Care website is it's a great hub for learning about where to donate to senior related entities. Basically, how to volunteer or where to volunteer once we're able to volunteer again, obviously. How to give back basically to those seniors in need, especially during this tough time. So, to donating to things like the Give 65 platform through Home Instead, or getting involved in the Be a Santa to a Senior program, which we do every Christmas, every holiday season. All this information is on that website, so if you're interested in looking at that, you can certainly go through those tabs. Another great thing that Home Instead did is they created the Ready to Care Facebook group. So it's almost like a continuation of the website, but now it's just through Facebook. So if you join it, you can speak with other like-minded people who are going through the same thing as you. It's great because it's very interactive and timely. So you can type in any kind of experiences you've had. Maybe if you want to share some kind of stories of your own weekly care mission, or if you want to read other people's weekly care missions of what they've been doing. It's just a great way to bounce ideas off each other, find great experiences and stories, and just a good way to gain momentum and positivity, especially in a time like this where we really need the positivity. So like I said before, we're all in this together, so it's very comforting to read other people's experiences throughout this process. Okay guys, so the last thing I wanted to talk about before I pass it on to Scarlett and Amber was all about our GrandPad. So our GrandPad, it's been a very fun partnership and very beneficial partnership for our seniors and for our office, because it's just another way for us to reach out to our clients and make sure we're having those connections with them as much as possible, especially during this time where we're all trying to practice social isolation and distancing as much as possible to stay healthy and safe, really. So it's just another great way for us to reach out to our clients who do have a GrandPad. Now, anyone can buy a GrandPad. You can find them in any retail store. You do have to pay an upfront cost and then a fee every month for their online subscription capabilities. The perk about being a Home Instead New Orleans client, through our franchise, is that if you do meet our minimum 8 hours per week of care, then you get a GrandPad in your home for free if you'd like. And I'm going to go over the GrandPad in a second and show you exactly what it can do and how it can really combat senior isolation and loneliness. So this is the GrandPad. So as you can see, it's very similar to an iPad for seniors, but the buttons are much bigger. There's only so many buttons a senior can choose, so it's not as confusing or convoluted. But it's very straightforward. Now the first thing you see, actually, I'll talk about a few of these buttons. The first thing you see is the Home Instead Now button. So if a senior or a caregiver or anybody in the family would like to contact us any time of the day, any day of the week, they can hit that Home Instead Now button and it immediately contacts our office. Some of the other things a senior can do is go on the internet, obviously with a caregiver's capabilities and help. They can make phone calls, they can receive emails. People in their circle of trust can upload pictures to their GrandPad. So a senior can look at pictures uploaded within seconds and stay connected. They can read articles. There are tons of articles out there, whether it's the Cat of the Week or articles about space and history. They're all in here. They're all updated every week or so. Listening to music, obviously, is a big one, especially for those seniors who maybe have Alzheimer's or dementia. It's a great capability there. Tons of things. One of the greatest tools of this is the FaceTime feature. Now, just for an example, we had a client a little while ago who had a GrandPad in her home. The caregiver went to her house. She found that the client had some kind of rash that may have looked like an infection on her leg. So the caregiver immediately FaceTimed us through the GrandPad and called the office. Now, one of the nurses answered it. She saw that the leg, in fact, looked infected. So she made the decision to have the client and their family contact their physician and get it checked out. So everything worked out immediately. It's very quick. That's just one example of what the GrandPad can do, especially in a time of need like that. Like I said before, the FaceTime is probably the best feature. It's something that we in the office love to do to connect with our seniors. So the client care team and myself and some other people in the office will just periodically FaceTime our clients just to try to talk to them as much as possible and almost enact like a face-to-face conversation. So it's great with that. Another cool thing that we're trying to enact right now, especially during this quarantine time, is a virtual package for clients, both old and new. So basically abiding by the social distancing procedures, we're trying to still contact our clients throughout the week via the GrandPad without having to actually send a physical caregiver into the home. Okay. So the whole goal of this is not to substitute a real human being caregiver with a technological pad. But as of right now, when people are trying to stay as distant as possible, this is just an option we're providing right now. So obviously there's going to be different levels to this package, whether it's doing a FaceTime call 3 times a week and having a caregiver come once a week, or maybe doing virtual calls 3 times a day and having a caregiver come 1 to 3 times a week. That is all being discussed right now, but we are currently discussing a virtual care package. So that's a very cool feature that we have with this GrandPad coming up very soon. It's just a great addition for those people who are trying to still utilize the care and the expertise of our Home Instead company while trying to socially distance ourselves and not having any caregivers come into the home. So once we have that all figured out, we're going to start to talk more about that. But if you're interested, you can always reach out to us and ask us those questions. So now I'm going to actually turn it over to Scarlett and Amber to talk about some activities to do in the home and then also some success stories that we've had with our clients and caregivers.
Hi, I'm Scarlett. I'm one of the marketers here at Home Instead Senior Care. And today I'm going to discuss just 2 different topics that relate to senior isolation. So the first one is actually a free website, a free resource called caregiverstress.com. It's a great place to go because they provide actually a free stress meter assessment. So if you're feeling very stressed, especially during this time, it's good to gauge that. There's also a lot of good resources for families or spouses caring for aging loved ones, including information about various senior related topics. It's also a place to go if you're a caregiver and you're wanting a community of other caregivers and to share stories, tips. There are forums and articles that you can look up. But basically, it's a ton of great resources from experts all over the world, anything that's senior related. So go check it out, caregiverstress.com. You will be glad that you did. So my next topic is actually really near and dear to my heart because I love animals. I actually have 3 dogs myself. But I want to talk about pets and seniors and how pets can actually help with senior isolation. And we're going to discuss also ways that seniors can still interact with pets without having the responsibility of pet ownership. So the first thing I want to cover is fostering an animal, fostering a dog or a cat. A lot of shelters right now are having to rehome a lot of pets for a temporary basis. And this is a great way for you to have an animal that's not for its lifetime, but just temporary. And not only are you helping out the animal and getting it acclimated to living in a home, being around people, but you in return get that great companionship that animals offer. So that might be something to look into. Definitely call your local animal shelter. I actually want to share a story about one of our clients who's on hospice. So she has a purebred Afghan hound named Venus, and she said she has quite the story. So our client actually wrote this in and shared her whole story with us, and I'll just read it to you guys. So she's been with Venus, the dog has been with her since early April, and she's the 7th rescued Afghan hound she's had. So that's pretty amazing. You can tell she has a real love for that type of breed. She said they all have amazing rescue stories and that she's in hospice at home, and she said that Venus is her constant and joyful companion. Venus was originally born in Taiwan and for whatever reason wound up in the dog meat market over there, which is really awful. She was purchased in Taiwan by a local veterinarian to save her, and then Southern California Afghan Hound Rescue raised the money to pay them back and get her healthy and fly her out to California where she was adopted. When you adopt a rescue from them, she said, it's common in the rescue to protect the future of the animal. So you have to sign a contract, which says if you can't keep the dog for any reason, then they'll be returned to the rescue to ensure they have a good and loving home for their entire life. She came to our client from Southern California, and our client was able to sponsor someone to fly Venus the dog from California all the way here to Louisiana. And since then, she's been our client's constant companion. And I think that was a pretty amazing story, so I wanted to share that with you guys. There's actually another story that I want to share with you. It's actually from one of our client's sons. So he said that he had a pretty amazing story to tell about their dog, Princess. Apparently, after his father passed away in 2008, Princess just randomly showed up as a stray in the March of 2009 at their door. And she's been his mother's constant companion for over 10 years now. She stays with her in her lift chair and also sleeps with her in the bed. The son also mentioned that he's seen his mom cry only a few times in his life. And the only other time was one time in particular when Princess got out of their fence and ran away. Thankfully, someone caught her and they were able to bring Princess back home to his mom, who was in tears of joy because she was so happy to have her constant companion with her. I think that's amazing. So I want to share with you a few different ways that if you don't want to own a pet, if you don't want to foster a pet, but you still want that interaction, here's some things that you can do. So Audubon Nature Institute, so if you go to audubonnatureinstitute.org, they are doing interactive videos, which are pretty amazing. So they take you all around the zoo. You see all different types of animals. So you can't really go there now, but you can see it online. There's virtual visits to their attractions. There are even online quizzes that would be fun. A lot of great stuff. So that's an option right there. The next option is getting to know your neighbor's pet. I know we're all social distancing right now, but if you see your neighbor's pet in the yard and the neighbor's 6 feet away, go and interact with the pet. Maybe even ask your neighbor if you can pet sit them every now and then. That way it's very temporary. You're just with the animal for a little bit, but you're still reaping those benefits of having that companion there every now and then. And then another option is connecting with a therapy animal. If you're in a care community, or if you have a loved one in a care community, consider reaching out to the pet therapy groups around New Orleans. We can give more information about that if you want to contact us, because we've worked with a few of them, but it's pretty amazing what they do. These animals are in tune and well trained, so they know exactly how to behave and react to the residents. I don't believe they make home visits, but if you are in facility, this could be another great option. But definitely speak to your facility beforehand and make sure that you can invite a therapy animal in. And I have a story personal that kind of goes along with therapy animals and in hospitals. So a year ago, me and my grandparents were in and out of the hospital. My grandpa was very sick. There was this one particular time that we had to be there for over a week. And I remember leaving his hospital room, and they were, low in spirits. They were missing their dog, Delilah, back home. And I was exhausted. I needed to go home, take care of a few things before coming back. As I was walking down, I run into Jessie, a therapy dog, and her owner. And I was like, do you think you can go visit my grandparents in this room? Sure enough, I came back, and my grandparents, their mood was just totally changed. They were so excited. Little Jessie, the golden retriever, brought a lot of life into that room, and they really needed that. They especially missing their dog at home. So I'm going to end with telling you why are pets beneficial to lonely seniors. So pet owners are more likely to get exercise, which could lead to lower blood pressure and lower stress levels, which we all need, especially right now. There's also a strong connection between heart health and pet ownership, or human-animal interaction, which encompasses activities like animal-assisted therapy. Studies also found that strong attachment to a pet was associated with less depression among elderly people. In fact, one trial of 68 nursing homes in Australia, the residents said that those who had a dog visit were less fatigued, less tension, confusion, and depression. So there you go. If that's not enough, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm a little biased because I know how amazing animals can be, especially during stressful situations. But if you want more information, just contact us and we would love to reach out with all of our resources. We do have a Pets and Seniors presentation that we do at nursing homes, assisted livings. So if you guys would like to hear that, just let us know.
Hi, I'm Amber. I'm going to be going over the activities that our team has come up with to try and help combat senior isolation and still social distance. So as Christian mentioned, we have the GrandPad, which has been great. We're able to call and check on our clients. But if not, there are other means, email or, FaceTime, things like that. So we're trying to encourage the kids or the grandkids to record a video of them dancing, singing, just a message of hello, anything like that to, brighten their day. Another means, if they're tech savvy and have that, outlet, is Google Duo. With Google Duo, all you need is an account with Google, which is free, and you can chat with up to 8 people. We also notice there's a lot of virtual tours going on right now. So there's Disney ride tours, World War II museum tours, concerts, the zoo, aquariums, the White House. I mean, the list is literally endless. Just Google virtual tours and you're bound to find something of interest. Another thing that we have is dinner on the phone or video chat. You could send them dinner. You could, if they have a caregiver, the caregiver could help prep dinner. And, just spend that time virtually or on the phone eating together and having conversation as if you would if you were in person. So something that we're trying to protect obviously is their health, but we also want to let them know about recent scams that are going on for the elderly. So maybe sending them or telling them information on those that you can find online. So we've also looked into NetflixParty.com. I'm really not 100% sure how it works, but I do know that it's a way to virtually watch a movie together. We also thought about organizing their old photos with them. That would be a great way to, have them to think back and to explain, certain times in their lives, and which could be exciting for both of you. Or you can write down or video them, telling you a story about some point in their life. There's also virtual books, audio books, or you can even read to them. One of the ones that I really enjoyed was the old-fashioned letter sending. Write them a letter. Maybe enclose a stamp in an envelope in case they don't have those at home, and include a picture or a drawing, something like that, just to get them excited and get them waiting, for that letter to come. And of course, we want to encourage them to write back as well. You could also drop off their favorite candy, their favorite flowers, drink, etc. I mean, anything that you think that would brighten their day, just do a drop off and, drop it off on their porch for them. Something else that we thought that would be really, really great to make them feel like they are, a part of society and they're doing their part, would be to have them write thank you cards to the doctors, the nurses, or their caregivers, anything to make them feel like they're doing something important. We also thought about maybe calling around family and organizing some type of family recipe book, get everybody involved in it, tell them to write down their favorite recipes and send them to you, mail or email. That way they can have all those recipes and make a book out of it. So something that I personally use is houseparty.com. So basically what it is a virtual platform where you can play games with your family or friends. It's really nice to see everybody's reactions and to have that kind of like real-time connection. It is also available on the app stores in your phones. It's all free, so check that out. And some of the other options is, your basic card games. You can do it over the phone, puzzles, adult coloring contests. You can do I Spy. You can do that over the phone as well. So we've been really seeing this a lot on social media, and it's the drive-by hellos. All you have to do is, connect with your family, organize a great time, have the senior outside and ready, and just drive by and wave. It will make their day. I think that about sums it up for the list of activities. Of course, if you have any ideas or, if you try any of them, please let us know how it works, and we're always here to help. Bye!